Everybody, Raven fans, Oriole fans, this is Charles, the owner of Ravery Sports. Thank you for joining us today with our weekly Ravery Sports podcast, the Baltimore sports podcast for fans like me. Thank you very much for joining us, no matter where you're joining us today. Couple things. Business. We got to take care of it first, and we're happy to take care of it at the beginning. If you like this type of content, Baltimore sports content, definitely follow us on this Twitter page, on this YouTube page, on this Facebook page, on this Twitch channel. So thank you for like and subscribe the video. Share the video. Okay, if you don't know somebody out there that likes Baltimore sports content and things like that, or they want to buy some of our shirts or our content, always be happy to go ahead. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit the share button. Out there, share one person that you know, all right, out there that wants to go ahead and get squared away with us. Also, too, as well, with this thing, at the bottom of the screen, Genesis Notary Services this week. So definitely go ahead in the Shenandoah Valley area. You need any notary documents, any POA documents, if you're wedding efficient, any of those things like that, anything like that, go ahead. You can book a session right on the website. This week I had to my book in Luray, Virginia, which is like about an hour from here. And we will do it. We'll go out there and go ahead and get that squared away for you. Also to ravorisports.company.site. All of our merchandise is on there. So definitely you could go ahead and check it out. You can buy merchandise right on the website. And again, Ravery Sports Tour coming this summer. In July, we will be out. We'll be out in Baltimore. We'll be out in Frederick. We'll be out in Hagerstown, Maryland. And we will be out in White Post, Virginia. Going ahead, talking sports with you, all of our content, getting ready for the football season, talking a little baseball and things today. So, awesome. Thank you for joining us this week. All right, lots to get to today, as it always is. So, you see the name of the stream here. Now we're in the off season here. We're going to talk about Ravens OTAs, but we could deep dive a little bit into the past, into things that we used to do. There's always a debate about who's better, who is better Ravens players, who are better. So what we're going to do today, and we're going to do it next week for defense, is who are the best all-time players for the Ravens on the offensive side. Okay, so who are the best ever on the offensive side? Who are the top 5 players at, I like my list of 5, right? And so who are the top 5 players for the Ravens on offense? So we're not doing defensive guys this week, but at each position, who are the top 5? Okay, quarterback. Now, this is my list. This is what I think. I'm going to go 5-1 and go over all of the players. Some positions that's a little harder. I didn't do left tackle, right tackle. I just did tackle, center, guard, and all these positions. Uh, 5, Steve McNair. Didn't play with the Ravens long. Probably the late Steve McNair was an outstanding quarterback for a long time with Tennessee Titans. Ravens pretty much got him past his prime. I'll say this though. This is what I always think about with Steve McNair, and I haven't heard anybody else bring this up. That was the same summer Drew Brees was a free agent. They were Dante Culpepper was a free agent, Drew Brees, and Steve McNair. The Ravens apparently didn't have any interest in Brees, and they were only interested in really bringing in Steve McNair and not Dante Culpepper. The Dolphins kind of famously more get roasted because they picked Culpepper over Brees. He wanted to go to Miami, and the Dolphins selected, I think it was Nick Saban, Alabama coach was coach at the time, what wanted Dante Culpepper instead of Brees. Brees goes to the Saints instead. The rest is history. I think the Ravens kind of get overlooked in that too, because that really, had they looked more at Brees, how would this have been? Would he be at the top of this list had they actually done that? How would the fortunes have been? We might even have the 2 top guys on the list. First quarterback we had is number 4, Vinny Testaverde. Quiet as kept, the offenses were very good under Vinny Testaverde when he was here at the very start of the franchise. That's why, believe it or not, they focused on defense because they were scoring a lot of points. The second year they were here, I think it was 97. So I think Vinny Testaverde, but that has more to do with his success had a little bit to do with the defense, because they felt they were good on offense and they kept drafting defensive players and going to defense or whatever. And defense came fantastic. Trent Dilfer. I got to put Dilfer here. He won the Super Bowl. Wasn't with the Ravens a long time, but hey, he won the Super Bowl with us. Had a long career in the NFL. I think it kind of goes to the lack of quarterbacks that we had that you put Dilfer 3. But I had to do it because he was the best quarterback of the list here that definitely had it. I mean, you can't. Elvis Gerbach's not on the list. Scott Mitchell's not on the list. Then there's guy Anthony, Kyle Bolton. So yeah, Dilfer, I think is as good a choice as any. Yes, I have Joe Flacco at 2. Joe Flacco is second. As far as quarterbacks and playoffs, I know he won a Super Bowl with us. I know he was an outstanding playoff quarterback. Offenses during the regular season were very pedestrian under Flacco. Much better than we had been seeing prior to him. Let's get that because of what we just talked about. But Joe Flacco, number 2, great career, still playing. Probably falls short of the Hall of Fame. No Pro Bowl, I don't think, but excellent win. I'll take wins over a lot of that stuff any other day. But Flacco won while he was here. Kind of flamed out though towards the end. Kind of like at the end, really struggled a bit. Really started to struggle. Number 1 is Lamar Jackson. Some people may disagree with that. I don't think it's even close. The stuff he's done, won the league MVP, 70+% of the games he's won while he's here. All-time, one of the best rushing records as a quarterback. The only quarterback to lead the league in touchdown passes. Pro Bowl quarterback several times. All NFL, not close. Lamar Jackson over Flacco. I think the lack of playoff success and the longevity is why a lot of fans might take Joe Flacco. Still, easy for me. Lamar is in the number 1 position. Running back, Jamal. Let's go back down to 5-1. Gus Edwards. Yeah, Gus Edwards been with the Ravens several years. I think he has a chance actually to get his stat. I mean, he may be here. We don't know contract-wise what's going to happen with J.K., etc. I think Gus Edwards might be here 7-8 years. I definitely think we could see that here. Number 5, Willis McGahee. Signed him after Jamal Lewis. I think he wasn't as good as maybe they thought, but he was pretty good. He's a solid running back there. I don't think he's had a long enough career to go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame, but he had a good career with the Ravens. I think he was solid for us. Priest Holmes, um, Priest Holmes is as good as had a great career actually post Ravens. That's probably what most people will remember. But he was Jamal's backup here, and he was a starter before Jamal got here. They went ahead in the draft and drafted his spot, Priest Holmes, because there was a lot of people not thinking maybe that was the guy. He came in, he did a solid job as backup, went to Kansas City and had an outstanding career. He was good with the Ravens too. I have him at 3. Ray Rice, I have him at 2. Um, Honestly, this is 100. I don't even like talking about that idiot. This guy did the worst thing I ever saw. Was I got no use for him. I mean, I didn't even honestly want to put him on the list, but the facts just bear it out. I mean, he's second all time of rushing yards with the Ravens. It's not close. So you have to put him there. You will never see a Ray Rice jersey on my site. You'll never see anything with this guy. Shout out to you fans who have forgiven this fool for the stupid thing that he did. I got no use for this guy. So, but he's on the list because like I said, he's a great running back. Jamal, he's the best rusher in Ravens history. I think I'm a little. I don't know why he's not more revered. I kind of like have the same feeling with Brian Billick with him. He, as good as he was for as long as he was, I don't know why there's not more national love or Hall of Fame for Jamal Lewis. He didn't miss a year. I will say this: he did fumble a lot if there's any negative with him, but Jamal was really good for a good 7, 8, 9 years. So I don't understand. Um, I don't understand why there's not more love for Jamal Lewis. All right. Fullback. Ravens used a lot of fullbacks and still use them, unlike a lot of teams. Sam Gash. That's an old name there. Big Penn State fullback. Sam Gash. Blocking, old school blocker. I mean, one of those in the era where they did play fullbacks a lot. He was the guy, good fullback. You know, that era, you just did base just on what the rushers did ahead of him. So whatever team rusher did, that's what Tangash was in front for a lot of those. Obi Mahaley, a couple of years with the Ravens. I think he played about 4. I think he went to Atlanta after that. He's in the 4 spot, solid blocking back. Pat Ricard, Project Pat, number 3 fullback, started out as a defensive lineman. Played 2 ways for a while. Pat Ricard, he could easily get to 1 when his career is over if he continues on with the Ravens. Vontae Leach, fullback with the Ravens as well. I think he was the fullback, I believe, when they won the Super Bowl, the last one in 2012. Outstanding fullback. Deserves Hall of Fame consideration. I don't know if he'll get it, but he was an outstanding fullback. Tough to get in Hall of Fame at that position. Ron McClain is number 1. Fullback, have him higher. He was a runner too from the rushing back. Basically, he kind of took over for Willis McGahee one year as the starting running back, even though he played fullback a lot, played fullback much of his career, more rushing yards than any fullback that the Ravens had. That's 1. Wide receivers. Talked a lot about this, haven't we? I don't know if that's spelled right, quite, but Torrey Smith, number 5. I thought the Ravens made a huge mistake by not keeping him. They kind of just let him go. I'm positive, pretty sure he stayed with the Ravens. He'd have had a much better career than he had after. I'm not sure I have it spelled right. I looked it up. So Quadri Ishmael, the missile. Ravens announcer right now, number 4. He was their number 1 receiver for a couple years. Probably the best they had for a couple years. I don't know. It's not a number 1 receiver, but solid enough for a couple years. He made the list at 4. Steve Smith, huge addition for the Ravens. He was outstanding while he was here. with the Ravens. Only news like this, he was past his prime, would have loved to have a few more years as Steve Smith. I think he could have kept playing, but I think he was ready to retire. Anquan Bolden, another guy they shouldn't have let leave. He was outstanding during the Super Bowl run. You have a guy like Anquan Bolden, you can win. Statistically, and I think this is easy, number one, Derek Mason, the best receiver in Ravens history, according to like the stats and everything like that. I think so. Looking at the eyeball test as well, those three at the top, easy best. Not close. Those guys, some you go way back and you can talk about names like Michael Jackson or Derek Alexander. These guys are easy at the top. Tight end, strong tight end group here. Nick Boyle, I have him at 5. He's no longer with the Ravens. He is probably the best blocking tight end maybe they've had of all of them. Had 7 years with the Ravens. So that always factor that in when you do a list like this. How long were you with the team? Were you good with the team for 7 years? Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay is one of the greatest tight ends. I think top 5 of all time. A winner. I had him at 1. Maybe now I have him behind Tony Gonzalez. Shannon Sharp was fantastic. I think he's exactly what we're looking for. With the Odell Beckham signing, a guy coming from the outside, a veteran, hungry, didn't have a long career with the Ravens, but he was sensational when he was there. Dennis Pitta, longer career. This was Joe Flacco's security blanket. Dennis Pitta was outstanding tight end. He couldn't stay healthy. That's why he's not higher on the list. He was good, pretty good, but he was hurt. He got hurt a lot. That's the only reason why he's not higher. Mark Andrews is 2. He's still probably your best tight end now. The question with him, the only thing, is he going to be the best tight end in the NFL at any point? That's the question. Kelsey is kind of keeping him from that, but is he going to be the best tight end in the NFL at any point? Todd Heap, 10 years, outstanding career, not talked about enough. Todd Heap was a sensational tight end for the Ravens, who used tight end more than any other team. A couple more here. Offensive tackles. I didn't do left and right tackle. I just did tackle. Breaking it down that much, that would have kind of, I think, watered it down a bit. There's a couple names I could have at 5 and 4. And 3, frankly. But I think these guys were probably here. Michael Orr, I think the blindside star, I thought was, I should have kept it. I kind of put him in the category of Toy Smith. Had he stayed a Raven, I think he would have had a better long career. I thought he was pretty solid while he was here. He was a good tackle for them. Tempted to put Tony Jones there. Tony Jones only did 1 year with the Ravens. The Michael Orr, I think, is a good choice. Orlando Brown Zeus Jr. and Sr. He was pretty good at right tackle. Orlando Brown Jr. He's pretty good, period. I think finances, I think they knew with him and Stanley they couldn't keep him. I think that's probably the only reason he isn't there. And he wanted to play left tackle. I don't think they were going to keep him anyway. It's too expensive to keep both him and Stanley. Very good, Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown Sr. Is one of the best stories that you'll ever hear of a player drafted late. Orlando Brown Sr. was always getting in fights. He figured the only chance he had was to get in fights so he'd get noticed. And that's what he did. He was always fighting, always getting, and nothing wrong with that. Do what you got to do. Third on the list, Ronnie Stanley is at number 2, second best of all time as far as Ravens. I don't know if he'll pass Jonathan Ogden, only because of the injury issue. But number 2 is a great place to be. He's been really, really good when healthy. I think he's got a lot more years ahead of him. Finally, he looked like the Ronnie Stanley we've been seeing for last year. Looked really good. Good job, Ronnie Stanley. J.O., Jonathan Ogden, not close. He was in the league 14, 15 years before you ever had to give help to him. He could, anybody by themselves. I didn't see him need help up until like Dwight Freeney came in the league. Then he was, it wasn't even close. There was no wasted a lot of good years of J.O. with bad quarterbacks. So Kevin Zeitler is at 5. He is the current Ravens right guard. He's really good. I think he's kind of been underrated his whole career. He's really, really good. He's been good in the last couple years with the Ravens. I think he's got a couple more years. This is a good late mid-career signing for them. Edwin Mulatalo is the other guard here. Many years with the Ravens. Not a pass blocker at all. They tried to tackle. That didn't work. Left guard, blocker, next to J.O., plugged him in for years. Fantastic job doing that. Great guard, mauler, like that. Kenechi Osemele, I think that's right. He was a draft pick for the Ravens as well. Pro Bowl guy. Kind of put him in the same bucket as Orlando in the terms of he probably not no longer only because of money. It's tough to pay a guard even worse than it is a tackle. But he was good. He was really good for a couple of years for the Ravens. Ben Grubbs was drafted in the same draft as the guy at the top there. Was a very good first-round pick for the Ravens. Again, money, probably the reason he wasn't there. Had a good career. I think that is another one. Hey, he probably stayed a Raven like 8-9 years. Could have been in the Hall of Fame. This guy is going to the Hall of Fame, or he should. Marshall Yanda, number 1. Here's the thing with Yanda, too. We had him at guard. He's really good at tackle. I thought, like, they put him in tackle for you, and I thought he was really good. At guard, it was completely unfair. He was definitely the best there was there. Center, Jeremy Zuta at center for the Ravens. Not a long career, but he was pretty good. Have him at 5. Not a lot of great centers here that we've had. Kind of like the more I look at it, it's like, man, we really haven't had that level of great centers there. Jeff Mitchell, starter for several years. He's there. Same kind of left because of money. I think he signed with Carolina. Wally Williams, going way back to the very beginning. Played guard and center with the Ravens. I really liked Wally Williams. I thought Wally Williams was fantastic. Guy perfect for the era that he played. Matt Burke is number 2. A lot of people would have him number 1. I think the best overall career on any team. A lot of years with Minnesota. Won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Then he retired. After he retired, they really struggled for years. They're still, you can almost argue, they never did replace him until Linderbaum got here. Linderbaum's not on the list because he just had the 1 year. By the way. So I think Linderbaum could definitely be on this list at number 1. Mike Flynn's number 1. This is a guy, I gave the nod to the guy who was here for several years. Lots of playoff success with Mike Flynn. Guard center, late round pick. Came in. Mike Flynn, great career for the Ravens. So there you go. Those are the all-time top 5 at offense for each position for your Baltimore Ravens. Raven fan. Some people I know may disagree with the quarterback or may disagree with a lot of things on the list. That's okay. That's because we're fans. And we are allowed to think what we want to think and argue with the list. And that's what makes the list even more fun. Having things like that. So we'll go up next week. We're going to go over defense of players on the list. OTAs. So right now there's pressure going on. I think as of recording with the Ravens OTAs, organized team activities. We did have Lamar Jackson show up for organized team activities. He's got a lot of new receivers. I'm sure he wants to work out with them. All accounts we've seen, Zay Flowers has looked fantastic. Everything I've heard now, again, we're only talking about organized team activities, a couple running, a couple drills, a couple 7-on-7. So not too much to get excited about yet. But the Ravens are going into the off-season now mode. Practices, they're going to have mini camp, they're going to have organized, they're getting ready now. Now that the team is pretty much set, now you're going to go ahead and see it there. Still no word on Marcus Peters yet. He visited the Raiders. I don't think there's going to be much interest. There doesn't really seem to be much Ravens interest. I think most of the interest I've heard is from fans and media and things like that. I haven't heard anything Ravens. It's interesting, and I'm not watching the presser. They see if somebody does actually ask them about Marcus Peters, but that seems like a need. That's one of the things I want to look at too at the OTA is how did Rocket Sin look, and how does the cornerbacks look? Because I think that's probably your biggest weakness, along with possibly your uh, outside rush guys. There's more hope at the outside rush because those guys are young guys. So David Ajabo and Oway and those guys. So take a look at that. Orlando Blackson was signed by the Ravens. Here's a guy here this is a depth piece for him. So I don't know if he makes the roster. Veteran guy, 30 years old, inexpensive. You're signing this time of year. Maybe he makes the run. Maybe like a Brent Urban gets hurt or something like that. Good guy to bring into your group there that you can go ahead and sign, and maybe this will work, and that will go ahead and get the Ravens squared away. So we will see what happens with the organized team activities. Hopefully, the big thing, you get some work in, keep everybody healthy. You hate to have an injury. I don't even like saying it, I guess. That costs you the season, like in a situation like that, when you're just trying to get guys ready, etc. So, thank you for that. All right, so we went over the Ravens stuff today, organized team activity. Let's talk about baseball. We're going to go ahead and go over this as well. Who is leading right now in the AL MVP race right now? Well, as much as I like to say, not Castle and ahead of the Scots, you got to look at the whole league. Of course, you have Aaron Judge is a factor there. Marcus Semien has been really good. I really like him. I think he was good for years. I think he's been good this year with Texas. He was good for years. Blue Jays second baseman. So I think definitely that's a name that you want to put in there. Shohei Ohtani obviously is a guy. I mean, he's sensational. You got to have that name there. Rafael Devers is really exciting. They missed Xander Bogaerts, but I said, man, well, they need to sign Devers. They went ahead and signed him. He's been fantastic for them. He's probably the reason they're winning. So those are the names I have as far as guys leading the AL MVP race. It's still May, but those are guys get off to a good early start. Who's leading in the Cy Young race in the AL? Shane McClanahan in Tampa has been out of this world. Their whole rotation has been really, really good. That's the guy I think probably if I was to give the sign of the day. There's going to be some Oriole fans that want Felix Bautista, who has been fantastic too. I mean, he's been. I was looking at the list of strikeouts, 2-1, 2 strikeouts per 1 inning. That's crazy. There's a guy in the Cy Young race. I think I think there's a starter here with 52. He had 52 strikeouts. He's a starter. He is like 4 more. It's crazy. But I think Shane McClanahan is there. I think Garrett Cole is there. It's still early, but if I was to pick a guy, that's who I would go ahead and pick there. What's wrong with the San Diego Padres? There are a couple teams in the National League I kind of follow a little bit more than others. Braves have always been one. Cardinals have always been one. Padres in more recent years, ever since they had Manny Machado. I kind of keep like a closer eye on them. Some like the bigger teams is more obvious, like Dodger games. You get a chance to see more Dodger games or Mets or whatever. But I really kept the eye on the Padres, and they are it's death by 1,000 cuts. Their offense hasn't been as good as they had hoped. I think in a couple areas, I think it's been decent enough. Nelson Cruz looks pretty done, but they haven't had a super season from anybody. They haven't had, Machado's been pretty good. Guys have been pretty good. Things like that. Pitching has been decent enough. It's been, and they're losing a lot of close games. So I still think they have a chance to get back to the World Series because they have too much talent there. Not to, I mean, they have too much talent there. Not to, but I think you can start worrying a little bit. If you have a worry meter of 1 to 10, you can put it at about a 4 or 5. Yeah, so much talent, but you got to start winning at some point. So Padres really struggling here early, under 500. Oh, I think I said. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, who's leading in the MLN? These for me say NL MVP race. Uh, who's leading in that race in the NL? Couple guys. I've liked Pete Alonso before the season. I think he's been fantastic for the Mets. I think he's great. He's been great for them. They haven't been as good. Robert Acuna is the name that I keep hearing over and over. So that's one. The Braves, you can pick a couple guys. Sean Murphy's, I think it's a name you want to throw in there early as well. And been outstanding top of the league stuff for them as well. So those are the three I think that I have there. Max Muncy's been really good as well in the end. So those are a couple names there I have in the NL. I think it'll be Pete Alonso by the end of the year. I'm going to stay with that and stick with that. He's phenomenal. I mean, his average isn't as high as Acuna, but he's been fantastic all year. Who wins the side in the NL in the National League? Clayton Kershaw, as usual, has been really good. Um, Everybody's sleeping on him. I kind of slept on him, how good he's been. I think Kershaw might be the best pitcher in the last 20 years. The only thing is playoff success, really good playoff. That's it. He's been fantastic throughout his whole career. Spencer Strider is my guy. I love watching him. In Atlanta, I think he's definitely the other guy I think that definitely has a shot at winning the MVP, the Cy Young in the National League. I think he is one of the best hitters, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball there going forward with that. All right. National Treasure. This is a Baltimore sports podcast, so I'm not a big racing guy, but you got to mention the big drunk fest in Park Heights that people go to in the infield. That's what my dad used to call it. The National Treasure wins the 148th Preakness Stakes. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at it here at the end. Fair use. Fair use.
That's the winner, and they're into this race. National Treasure taken on by Blazing Sevens. Mage wanders inside. Still work to do with him. National Treasure digging in. Blazing Sevens. Mage is there. National Treasure. It's Blazing Sevens putting on a show. And who's it going to be? It's going to be National Treasure. John.
So there you go. Had National Treasure winning down the stretch there. The Preakness Stakes winning there. So a lot of the fans out there that went ahead and saw it. This is the commentary I do want to make about the Preakness. It's a shame the way that the city of Baltimore has let Pimlico go. It's just ridiculous. They don't like, and frankly, I think the only reason is they don't like the neighborhood zone. I think that history of the horse race, I think it's good overall for the city. I think it's good overall for people that come and watch. I think Baltimore is not a city that has a lot of these type things, frankly. I mean, that's where everybody comes. I think that's there's nothing good come of it, and you want to ruin it because you don't want to. Pimlico is just they're holding that together with stick and wire. Um, I don't know why where the city is investment in that and the arena that's never been built. So I don't know why that is, but I'd like to see it continue. Unfortunately, though, we did have tragedy there at the Preakness. A jockey, and this is I got this from WJZ, so shout out to them. Jockey who had been riding, name is Have a Meltdown. That's the name of the horse. At the time, when Louis Sayers was thrown off the horse, the jockey, and he had to be taken to the hospital. The horse was euthanized, which means killed. That is tragedy there. Unfortunately, that horse didn't survive there. Hopefully, unfortunately, it shadowed a good Preakness where people were fans were out there watching, where people were watching horse racing. So that's too bad to always see that animals. Uh, I know my wife, especially a lot of people, and like they love animals and everything. Animals bring a lot of joy. So you always hate to see that uh, happen. Uh, it's unfortunate, It's unfortunate. Unfortunate things do happen sometimes in sports. All right, let's talk a little NBA playoffs. Yes, so NBA playoffs. Let's talk about my Lakers. So the Lakers are now eliminated. The Nuggets are going to their first NBA. I did not know that they had never been to the finals before. So they're going for the first time, 4 in a row over Los Angeles. Couple things to unpack here. One, they were a much better team than the Lakers were. I've been a Laker fan all my life. I was pretty surprised that they got this far, considering their circumstances. I think LeBron's talking retirement. I'll believe it when I see it. He could just be, I think he could just be positioned, you know, for more help, however he can get it, trade Davis or get another guy or what. This could all be positioning. You never know. Sometimes when he come out and say he might mean retire, he doesn't really seem to me like a guy who's ready to retire. That's the first thing. Um, the Lakers probably got as farther than they even should have. I think the fact that they got this far says more about Golden State getting older, and they were able to do just enough to go ahead and beat them. I think that was. I thought it was a good effort. I'm not. If you're a Laker fan, you can't be too mad like they didn't get to the final. I mean, this isn't a team. You got LeBron past his prime, as great as he still is. You got Davis, who's always injured. You got D'Angelo Russell, who's probably your third best option, and a bunch of guys, who are mid-tier guys. Nuggets are really good. Joker, Jamal Murray, they showed up in this playoffs. They're fantastic. I think they've been good the last few regular seasons. It just hasn't showed up in the playoffs. They were dominant in this. And we're going to get to next year to talk about dominant. But this was outstanding work by the Nuggets. They've been really good. It'll be interesting to see how the finals go. So shout out to Mike Malone and the Nuggets for getting to the finals. Heat and Celtics got good to say about this. There's been a guy I know when I was in the service, and we've been going back and forth for years on the social media about Jimmy Butler. And this year, all of a sudden, he was just gushing and going on and on about how good Butler. And I didn't let him get away with that. I didn't let you get away with that because I've been saying this about Butler for 5 or 6. He's fantastic. He's a lot of guys again don't understand how basketball is played. Guys are not going to score all the points all the time if they're good players. Some nights you're going to score some points. You're going to focus on defense. You're going to focus on everything. Every year in the playoffs, he scores all these points, and everybody's like, "Shot!" Like that's all, a lot of great players were like that. Only Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan score all the points all the time and do all the other stuff. Some guys give up points. Some guys give up. That's how that is. So they're up 3-1. The Celtics did win the last game after this recording, so it's not over officially yet, and we'll see. I mean, they got a long road to go. Miami's really good. I hate to keep dissing Eric Spoelstra and saying it's a Pat Riley team. I'm just an old guy, I guess, in that sense. That's what I see. Tough defense, physical, challenge every shot. You don't get easy shots. You're not getting easy shots against them. And offensively, unlike the regular season where they struggled, they've been good. And this is kind of what I say about Butler every year. Every year in the playoffs, he's really good. Kicks that gear up a notch. He doesn't do everything during the regular season. Now it's playoff time. Now I need to. That's not an accident, guys. Like, for those of you out there. Celtics, I don't think they're that far apart from the Celtics as much as they're getting killed. The coaching, I think, has been an issue for them. I think Tatum and Brown, they just haven't been as good in this series. I think the Miami defense has a lot to do with that. I think Tatum is a top 5 player in the league. He's fantastic. I think Jaylen Brown, they're crazy if they get rid of these guys. They just don't have enough help around them. That's why I don't think they're that far from them. Miami really has the one scorer, maybe 1.5 scorer, Canada Bio, and like the Celtics really have 2 scorers. Marcus Smart, those guys are just, role players. Horford might have a good night here and there. So that's I think I'm not as shocked by this as a lot of fans seem to be with Miami. Miami has been really good. But I think it'll be interesting to see if they can get to the finals and see how they do against a Denver team with a lot of talent. A lot of talent. The defense is going to be much, much tougher against a much bigger team. Team with a lot of size and everything there with the Nuggets. So interesting to see how it is in the finals. We'll go ahead and get a graphic up for you this week, and we will absolutely go over the graphic as well. And being a Laker fan, I got no use for the Celtics anyway. Not a Celtics guy as it is. So there you go. I don't have no use for the Celtics watching them in Vegas. Orioles report. Next week, we're going to do a recap of the whole month of May for the Orioles. So we're going to recap everything they did during the month. Michael Givens is back with the Orioles. So that's good news. He made his first couple relief appearances with us. I think his ERA is 4.5. Still working his way back in. He will not be the setup guy. That's okay because Cano has been just fantastic all year. So to have a guy like this, like early in the game, like that, 6, 7, 8 innings, in the 6th inning or in the 5th inning or whatever, it's good when you have a guy of this level with the Orioles. So still waiting on Dylan Tate to get back, not back yet. Couple Orioles notes here as well. Starting pitching, been observing that it's been good enough. They've been outstanding on the defense. Has been outstanding. The bullpen has been, I think it's the best in baseball. I don't know if it's even close. Anybody else? I think their offense has been really good. They don't have the only criticism I have with the offense is they really don't have a real Aaron Judge type, a stud type. We're still waiting to see if that happens. I don't know if it's there. I don't think Mel Castle is there. He's going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's not going to have his average is going to be low. Adley's going to give you the great average. He's going to hit some home runs, but he's not going to give you, I don't think, 50 and 60. I think that's a bit much for him. But they're really good. I think not have been for the Rays, you'd be talking about the Orioles as one of the best teams. You already are talking about one of them as the best team in the entire major leagues. I think they're only like 2 or 3 games back from Tampa. Fantastic work that they've done. Swept the Blue Jays. That's unbelievable. What I saw there, a good Blue Jays team, by the way. Blue Jays are really good. Playing the Yankees now. Last week against the Angels, I thought that they were really good. You better get to the starters early if you're going to beat the Orioles, because you let them hang around, you're not gonna get to that bullpen. They're not going to get a lot of runs. So that's the downfall I see when they have lost games. Hey, they kind of got to the starters early. Who's emerging as your number 1 starter? We're still in. Dean Kramer, I think, has won the most games. Kyle Gibson, I think, it's kind of fell back a bit. I think their ERAs are 4-ish. Well, again, next week we'll definitely recap the whole thing. But it's been uh, it's been interesting. It's been great to see the excitement of the Orioles fans, the enthusiasm, the good the baseball in general. I think is an upswing. I think compared to where it's been the last few years, fans are more interested. Players and everything, the new rules that have made have sped up the game. You're seeing more base stealing. You're seeing more fan. I love seeing. I love seeing the upswing for baseball. Not because it's good for my business, because it is. I mean, as far as the interest of the game, but it's interesting to see how many people now with me have more casual conversations about the Orioles than ever happened years ago. Last couple of years, like we still have a team, and we suck, and whatever. The Orioles are good. I mean, just to have fans coming back and the excitement and to see the interest up, and we're not talking about okay, well, 5 years from now, this guy will be good, or 5 years from now. Hey, man, we got black prospects, Colton Cowser and Westberg, and so it's great to see the Orioles have done a fantastic job here on the field this season. Brandon Hyde, as critical as I've been, I mean, it's exciting. It's fantastic to see the Orioles go ahead and win a lot of games here at the start. All right. So that's it for us this week. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot this one. Kyle Bradish, again, was good in the start there this week. So I'm start calling it good Bradish, bad Bradish. Kyle Bradish was outstanding. I thought he said, and see, this is the tragedy with him as much as I get on his case. Bradish, some weeks, fantastic, man. He looks like a number one star, and then he'll go out and he'll clunker. Come on, man. I am pulling for you, Kyle Branch. I am pulling for the Orioles as starters. I hope that he can go ahead and get that taken care of. Just need to be more consistent. I mean, a lot of the talent is there. We'll go ahead and see that. All right, so I didn't want to mention Bradish because I was so proud. He had such a good start. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us on our weekly Baltimore sports podcast, Ravery Sports podcast. Again, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We do have our Instagram page. If you like our shorts, TikTok as well, you can go ahead and check that out as well. Go ahead and put in Ravery Sports, right? The TikTok page is Ravery Sports 1. So if you go ahead and put in the TikTok Ravery Sports 1, you can watch all of our content on there. Like and subscribe if this content was good today. Thank you very much for joining us for our weekly podcast. You have a great rest of your day.